Start wrapping your head right up front. We gotta get that eye on first. Most of the time I like to tie the eyes on top. I'll build up couple little ridges in here, back about 3/16 from the eye. Some like to tie the eyes on top, some like the eyes on the bottom. And this time we're on these. I like tying the eye on top. It gets the hook point up, keeps them out of the rocks. You don't lose quite as many. There's some of them I tie with the eye on the bottom of the hook. It's just kind of a personal thing. Some people think one way works better than the other. I don't know. I'm kind of undecided about which one actually works the best. So anyway, figure eight that eye several times. Get some wraps around it, really get it locked in tight. These flies really take a beating, so really want that eye in there well. Good. Okay, and then I like to put just a little bit of lacquer on top of it. Helps solidify them in there. Lock all that down. Take the thread all the way back, right where the bend starts. Just like that. Back to the back. Okay, now we're going to take 3 pieces of marabou. We're going to lay them together so the tips are even. And I like to tie this marabou in so that the barbs are facing up and down. I think it makes it swim a little bit better. Okay, and we want it just about the length of the hook here. A little bit longer doesn't hurt anything. I'll start with just a couple loose wraps to start that down in place. I'll tighten up just a little bit to hold the back of it. I'll wrap this in clear up to almost up to the eyes, back off about 1/8 of an inch. Okay. I'll trim that off nice and close. Careful not to get the thread. Like so. I'll go ahead and wrap this down really well. It's fairly tight. And by wrapping it up to almost to the eyes helps build the body up a little bit. Okay, now we're going to bring the thread forward about 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to take 5 or 6 strands of gold flashabou. Fold it in half and bring it up, and we'll tie it in on each side. Fortunately, these flies are just long enough. It's hard to get two sides out of one piece of the flashabou. Sometimes you can. If you can, it's always better. That way you're not wasting your extra material. But okay, we'll tie that in on that side, like so. And I like to cut it off about 1/2 inch behind the marabou there. Put that aside for later. Next, take some of the Senyo's UV Pearl Predator wrap and lay it in. Just wrap there, and we'll go ahead and pull it down. A couple wraps on it like that. And then we'll pull this back because we'll need it here in a minute. Now for the body, use the UV gray eye stub. You want it fairly thick. You don't have to get it super tight, just enough on there for it to stay. We're going to wrap the Predator wrap up behind it, or on top of it here. There we go. It's not going to hurt it to be brushy at all. Right up to about 3/16 behind the eyes there. Okay. Now we'll take the UV Predator wrap and we'll go the opposite direction. Helps lock it in, helps keep everything locked down. I like to keep pulling it backward, pull it back as you wrap it. Space it about as even as possible, but keep that pulled back. You really want this stuff to flow and swim. Keep it fairly snug as you're wrapping it forward. Bring it up. Just enough to hold it to cut it. Okay, now we want to pull all this back. Actually, I like to brush it and just use a little doll hair brush. Get them at the dollar store for next to nothing and they work very well. Okay, you get it all pulled back, get it brushed out, and then you're going to want to cut this off the same length. Here's your flash of it. When you get done, you'll have a few stragglers, but you can always trim the back of it a little bit. Okay, save that away for later. Alright, now we got this pulled back. Go ahead and a couple good tight wraps to hold that down. And when I'm tying streamers especially, I like to use the lacquer on it, help lock everything down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to spin this bad boy over. Okay, we get it spun over, keep your dummy down out of the way. We'll just take one piece of marabou. We're going to lay that on top. Just a little bit shorter, maybe ½ inch shorter than your tail. Go ahead and give it a wrap or two to hold it down. I'm going to cut that off. Okay, and you come up almost to the eye here. Okay, now we're going to take some of the shimmer fringe and we're going to cut about ½ inch. Square that end up just a little bit. Start that down with just a couple figure eights in there to hold that down. We want that right dead center. Okay, just like so. Sometimes I keep a glass of water with me when I'm doing this so I can help lay this stuff down just a little bit. Now you take the ice cold dub. Flashy Boo would work, but I like the way the ice cold dub lays in. Gives it that good brushy solid look on it. And we'll pull the, and it's all in strands, so it's a little bit of a pain to get it all pulled back. Okay, we'll take and we'll fold some over just about like this, just like when we tie our Flashy Boo in. Helps give the front end of it just a little bit more mass. And what we want to do is we want to tie in 3 pieces, or 3 hanks of it. Okay, one about 10 o'clock, one right up about 12 o'clock, and then one over at about 2 o'clock. Spin that over like so. Pull that down, and then we got one more on the other side here. Fold this one over as our last one. Around just like so. Okay. Everything back, give her a couple good tight wraps. Like I said, folding it over gives you a little bit more mass, but it also helps hold it in, help lock it down. Alright, add a little bit of lacquer on it. And we're going to cut. These are kind of messy to tie, but it's worth it. And we'll cut another 1/2 inch or so with a shimmer fringe. Square the end of that up. Okay, we'll lay the shimmer fringe right on top. Back down a little bit, and we'll have a little bit right over, real close to where our eye is. Bottom on that head. Okay. Go ahead and hit that with a little bit of lacquer. Lock that down. Now we'll roll it back over. Top. Reposition this just a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Now we're going to take another piece of marabou. Actually, we'll take 2 of them, good brushy ones. Once again with the tips even. And you want to lay that back just about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch from the tail. Okay, we'll hold that down. A couple loose wraps to start holding it. Okay, and then what we want to do is come up over the top of the eye, get a couple wraps, start figure eighting it. There we go. And we'll trim this down real close, being very careful not to cut the thread. Okay, now we'll go ahead and start locking this down a little bit. There we go. Now, take about another 1/2 to 3/8 of the shimmer fringe. get those ends nice and even. Lay it down, just a real loose wrap, kind of pull it down towards the head. Okay, and we'll come back around, get it behind the eyes, and we'll figure eight a couple times. And I'm putting some pressure on it, start holding that down. Okay, now trim up a few of the strays by the eye. Sometimes if you get a few too many strays on the eye and you can't get them, put some lacquer on it. Give it just a minute and then use a double-edged razor blade, and you can roll right around in front of your thread and cut it off nice and clean. Okay, and get that head built up nice, keeping everything pulled back. Good head on it there, pulled back. Okay, and when I whip finish, especially on streamers, I like to give a couple whip finishes. So I'll go 4 or 5 on the bottom whip, snugging it up, and I'll do a couple more. Get it tight. We'll cut that off. Now I've read and watched videos where it's been said that good whip finish, you really don't need head seam out, but especially with streamers, I think they need it. You know, if you're into the fish, they really take a beating, and you're popping it over rocks all the time, and you got to think that if you spend a lot of your day casting this, it's gonna spend most of its day traveling at 200 miles an hour, so it needs to be as bulletproof as possible. Okay, so get that built up good with some lacquer. Sure, I don't have any hanging down on the bottom, and we'll flip it over. Okay, we'll give her a little bit of lacquer on the bottom. Really build that up so that head gets good and hard. Make sure I get some back on the thread here and hold that down. Okay, we'll let that lacquer dry just a second, and I'll be back to show you how to finish it out. Okay, so now the lacquer's fairly dry. I'll take that brush and brush it out. Loosen this up just a little bit. Go ahead and take it out here. I'll just brush this thing out. Get everything to flow. And like I said, we can trim the tail up even. And I'll go ahead and water it and dry it. That way you can see what it looks like once it's in the water. Really works well.